What's up people, Craig Lopez here with another tutorialism, and today I'm going to be asking the question, is Arturia's Analog Lab V the perfect synth plugin for beginners? Now of course only you can answer that question, but to try and help you answer it, I'm going to be making a track using only Analog Lab V, and whilst I'm doing that there's a few things you should take into consideration, like how easy to use and how accessible is the user interface. Of course, what's the quality of the sounds and the content provided within Analog Lab V? How well does it integrate with our DAW and our use of controllers? And probably most importantly, will this synth help us grow as a producer and as a sound designer? Now, for those of you that don't know, Analog Lab V is a collection of thousands of presets taken from Arturia's V Collection 8. Now, Arturia aren't paying me or sponsoring me to make this video. However, I do have an affiliate link to pick up this plugin if you do decide that you want it. You will be helping out the channel and it won't cost you anything extra. But there's only one way to find out if you do want it. Let's get into this. So I'm not going to do a rundown on every single feature straight off the bat. Rather, we're just going to get straight into using it just to see how intuitive it is for the new user. Now we can see in this little blue box here that we have 11,295 presets, which is a crazy amount by anyone's standards and a little bit overwhelming, but Analog Lab V does a really good job of making it very easy and very quick to find the sound that you want. So let's start off with a piano. So in this top section where it says instrument, I'm going to scroll along until I see the piano. Let's go with grand piano. We just click on it, and now we can see that we have 75 grand piano presets. So I'm going to scroll down the list till I see one that I like the look of. And let's go with this Japanese large studio. Double click on it, and let's have a listen. And it really is just as simple as that. But to test out just how intuitive it is, let's make a track with a specific style in mind. So, like a lot of the world right now, I am completely lost in Cyberpunk 2077. So let's try and make a track in the style of the said game, but hopefully with not as many glitches. So if you've not played the game or heard any of the music from it, it's very much synthwave inspired, but it's got this kind of 90s rave aesthetic behind it. So let's go for that. So I'm going to clear the grand piano from my search field, and let's go to the styles menu and let's choose synthwave and then 90s. And I think I want to start off with an arpeggiated sound. So let's click on that. We go to show results, and you can see it's narrowed our search down to 28 presets. So let's click through some of these. Cool, really like this one. Not Done by Thomas Coote. Now, one of the cool things about working in Cubase is when you drag Analog V into your project, it automatically loads up some quick controls for the instrument. And in the first slot of the quick controls, we can see we have the master volume. So I'm just going to select the quick controls on my controller. And with the first dial, I can quickly and easily turn down the volume on that. Now, Cyberpunk obviously borrows a lot from the Blade Runner aesthetic, and the Yamaha CS80 is famous for being all over that original Blade Runner soundtrack. So let's see what we have in Analog V. Let's drag another instance into our project. And we can see the CS80 here, so let's click on it. I think I want some kind of pad to sit behind that arpeggiator. Let's go to types, pad, and let's go with an evolving pad and see what we have. 45 presets. So let's go through some of these. Yeah, I'm liking that backline. Let's label that. And let's see what we can find in terms of bass. And let's grab another instance. I'm going to click on bass. Under styles, let's go FM for that classic 80s sound. And I think I want something dark and deep. Let's see what we have. 18 results. I'm going to go with this operator bass. Let's find some kind of pluck sound now. So this time I'm actually going to just type into the search field. And let's go with pluck keys. 185 to go through here. Let's have a listen to some of them. Now, I like the plug element of this, but I'm not too keen on the pad behind it. Well, it doesn't work for me in this instance. Now, we can see in the right-hand section of the plugin that this preset has loaded up two synths, the June 8V and the CS80. Now, we can see in the description below that the mystical uplifting delayed plug sound is layered with a deep evolving CS80 pad, and I don't want that pad, so I'm just going to remove it. And now let's have a listen. Perfect. And let's add some drums. Analog Lab V contains keyboard emulations rather than drum machines. However, some of those emulations were sample-based. So, for example, we have the CMI, the Emulator 2, and the Synclavier, or Synclavier, however you pronounce that. So under types, let's click on drums and see what we have. So you have a cool little 606 sample kit here. 707. I think I'm going to go with this beatbox. And just so I can process them separately, I'm going to duplicate that channel and separate it into a kick and a snare channel. And let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Move the drums to the top, the bass underneath, and let's colorize them. Drums are red because they always are, and the bass is orange because it always is. And let's see what else we have in the way of drums. Let's add another instance. So now I want some hi-hats, and let's see what we have. So as well as synthesized single hits, we also have some rhythmical sequences. So let's find one of those sequences that fits the bill. Let's have a listen to this one. Pull down the volume on it. Yeah, I like that. And now with the use of our quick controls, we can just do a quick mix. So I'm going to pull down the volume all the way down on everything, apart from the kick. And let's mix everything around the kick. Let's bring up our mixer so we can see the overall output on it. Right, so we've seen how easy it is to find the sound that you want and get a quick level on it. But of course, nobody just wants a preset player. So let's have a look at how we can manipulate those sounds and how well this plugin integrates into Cubase. And we can see along the bottom of the plugin here, to the left of the master knob, we have these 8 macros controls. So let's have a little play about with them and see what we can do. So we can see straight away that very quickly, very easily, and very intuitively, we can craft the sound and make the preset our own. Now, if you're lucky enough to have an Arturia controller, these knobs will automatically map to your hardware. But as you can see, I don't have an Arturia controller, but that is not a problem. You can of course map all of these knobs in the same way as you would map any VST to your controller. But what I like to do is utilize the quick controls within Cubase. So we saw earlier that Cubase gives us some default quick controls, and if I play back with the brightness dial here, you can see we have brightness in the quick controls here, but we don't have all 8 of them. So I'm just going to quickly set up a custom quick controls just for Analog V. It's really simple to do. So I'm just going to click on this L button, quick controls learn mode, highlight the first one, move to brightness, highlight the second one, so on and so forth till I have all 8 of them mapped. Now we can change the name on each of these just by double clicking. We can see that off is automatically written in because that's the channel that I've put them on. And then I'm going to save that as a preset. You can see I've done this previously, but obviously I'm going to title it Analog Lab V Macros. So you only need to do this once, and now every time I load up Cubase, those quick controls will be there, ready and waiting. And now I'm just going to load those quick controls onto the other channels. So now I can quickly and easily manipulate these sounds with my MIDI controller. Very cool indeed. So let's quickly do some simple sound design on all of our presets. Let's try the pad. Can of course record that in as automation, so let's double our loop, go to our ARP, so have write automation enabled, let's record something in. Now, it's not just the macro controls that we can use to manipulate the sound. There's also a whole bunch of inbuilt effects. Let's load up the pluck. And if we click on Studio, we can see under Effect A, we have a multi-filter, and under Effect B, we have none. These two macro here determine the wet-dry on both Effect A and Effect B. We also have our two send effects here, and these two macro here are controlling the send amount. And you can see we have control over the parameters within the effects. Let's play about with the delay first. So let's try a bit of distortion on effect B. So we turn that on here and let's have a listen. So we've covered accessibility, the GUI, the user experience, the quality of the sounds, how easy it is to integrate into your DAW, and how flexible it is. But for me, one of the most important things when looking for a plugin as a beginner is, will that plugin give you room to grow as a producer and as a sound designer? And with Analog V, the answer is yes. So as I mentioned earlier, Analog Lab V contains a whole bunch of presets taken from the whole Arturia V Collection 8. Now, as you use this plugin more and more, you're probably going to find that you gravitate towards one or two synths a whole lot because you just enjoy that sound. So what you can then do is go and buy that particular synth and either use it as a standalone or find that it perfectly integrates within Analog Lab V. So we can see here, I can click on Edit, and we see that the Juno 6V is now loaded into Analog V, and now I have full control over all of the parameters within this synth. Let's have a look. And you could, of course, do that with any of these presets within Analog Lab V, provided, of course, that you buy the full synth. Now, personally, I would say that if you are enjoying the sounds within Analog Lab V, buying the entire collection is pretty much a no-brainer. But the only thing left for me to do now is see what else Analog Lab has to offer, and let's finish up my track. Okay, so I think I ended up with something a bit more air than cyberpunk, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Right, so that was Analog Lab V by Arturia. I hope you found that useful or insightful in some way. If you did and you're not subscribed yet, maybe now's a good time to think about it. Like I say, I do have an affiliate link in the description below. If you want to check out the plugin, pick it up, help out the channel at no extra cost to yourself, go ahead and do that. But either way, thanks for watching. As always, you've been awesome. I've been Craig Lopez. This has been Tutorialism. Peace.